Welcome back. Once again, let's put it in the ether, alright? Because the way they are wired, meaning females, right? This is a man's channel, right? Because they are wired, how they are wired, because how the law are written in their favor, right? The best thing to do is to not participate. And I see a lot of men are doing that right now, right? They're not participating in dating. They're not participating in marriage. They're not participating in trying to get in a relationship, right? Because men are waking up. We understand the situation right now. Back 20 years ago, right, when we don't have this social media, there are a lot of lost men out there. He's being taken advantage of, right? He's being used, abused, and thrown on the sidelines, right? Thank God for social media, right? Social media is a curse and also a blessing in disguise. Right? Because social media actually expose the system and the people who benefit from the system. Right? If you're a guy who don't understand this, who doesn't learn from this, who doesn't pick up what's going on right now, men are finally waking up. Right? Due to the low marriage proposal, right? Due to the low dating rate, guys are not asking girls out, all these stuff I just mentioned previously. Right? It's slowly guys are getting the hang of it. They're becoming slowly red pill over time. They realize that most of these relationships are useless, right? Most of these women are useless, right? Most of these women are undateable, modern women. Most of the women in the West, right, is not approachable, right? They use men, use and abuse. The law is written in their favor. Not unless the law changes, guys should not participate. Right? That's a deal killer. Right? Not unless the law changes that benefits everyone, not just only one side of the party. Right? Guys should not participate in this social construct of marriage or matrimony, right? If you want to get married, by all means, but don't get married to the government. Right? If you're gonna get married, marry by God. Don't involve the government contract. I'm not against marriage. What I am is against marriage with the government. Right? If you want to get married, by all means, get married the right way. Married to God, married between you people, two people. You don't need to get the government involved, right? Because most country out there, they get married, they doesn't necessarily need a marriage license. They just get married, right? This is done a lot of time in Southeast Asia, where I don't think there's a lot of people and tribes, right, get married, they don't get the government involved. Right? The only reason why you get married is because the laws heavily favor against one-sided. And those people want to get married because it heavily benefit them financially. It's very lucrative. Right? Because of what's going on right now, men choose not to participate. And I applaud them for that, you know? I mean, if it's not against your favor, why are you playing for it? If the odd is against you, why are you playing? Right? If you get 80% failed marriages, right? Because 80% of the divorces are initiated by women, that means 80% of marriages fails. So what's the point? That's not a good deal at all. That's terrible, especially for men. Now, I'm not saying women also doesn't get the raw end of the deal, but it's very few, right? She usually get the house, the kids, full custody, get alimony, right? And you get nothing. You get left in the dirt. You get left in the sidelines, and you have to build yourself back up. So it's like. That's how they are. That's how they're programmed. They're wired like that. Women are wired like that. The laws have heavily written in their favors, right? Because of their behavior, right? Especially their behaviors, their nature, right? Guys are quickly learning from this. They just choose not to get married, and you can't blame them. Just don't participate. If you want to date, go ahead date, right? I'm not telling you to do anything. Right? If you want to date. If you don't want to date, you don't have to date. You're not being forced to. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you're a guy who don't want to date, who just want to focus on his goal, that's good too. You should not shame men just because they choose not to participate in this environment. That's their choice. You can't blame men. You can't blame men not to date like a man cannot blame women for who they are. Alright? If a man don't want to date, that's who he is. You can't blame a man for that. It's his right not to. And that's the path he chooses to circumvent the terrible choices out there. Right? But in order to change happen, right? In order for change to happen, there need to be a restructure of the marriage law in the United States. Not just in the United States, in the Western Hemisphere, right? Because it's heavily favored to one party, clearly, and they're making a lot of money on that, right? I don't see them changing anytime soon because, excuse me, right? Because the court system, Western Hemisphere court system, right? They make a lot of money. Divorce lawyer, they make a lot of money. All right, that's why you see all these divorces. All these divorces never settle quick, right? It's always drag on, because the lawyer tried to make as much money as he can from you, right? The longer the divorce proceeding happens, right, the more money he could extract from you, right? So there's no incentive for a lawyer to make a quick divorce. Most divorces last for a long time because they try to drag all these things out of a man, nickels and diming him, right? So the divorce court, the system, is making money off of men. The judge is making money off of men, right? If they try to say the judge aren't making enough money for men, no, the judge making money off of men because if a male fail to pay the woman, he get put in jail or get fined, right? And what do you do with that fine? That fine ultimately goes back to the judge as well, because the judge is getting paid by the city, by the system, right? If you don't fine a man or anything like that, they don't charge you for anything, make him pay a fee or anything like that, the judge is not making any money. So ultimately, it benefits the judge, the legal system, the lawyer. All is a lucrative business. At the end of the day, it's a business. Divorce is a business. It's a $1 billion business. And it mainly exploit men. It mainly drain the men. Men suffer the most from a divorce, right? Men suffer the most, and then the kids suffer the second. All right, the one who benefit the most are the women. All right, but when I say kids suffer, is because when you take away a father of a household, you're depriving the kids of a structured household. All right, that's what divorce do. You're doing a disservice to the kid as well. The next thing you know, the kids can grow up with psychological issues, psychologically damaged because he's not from a stable household. Because due to one party's selfishness, who only think for themselves, whose narcissistic can be controlled. Right? If you only think about yourself and you don't think about the kids, you're selfish. That party is selfish. Most men out there are willing to make it work, but the other party aren't willing to make it work. Right? What does it say about the other party who's not willing to work it out? Who filed no-fault divorces? Right? Who filed who filed no-fault divorces and not even have to explain themselves. Right? Putting their family through hell, putting their kids through hell, depriving them of a father figure. Right? I understand you divorce him, you have a reason why, for a reason like why you divorce him. Oh, he's abusive. Right? He cheated. He's infidelity. Right? I see that, but no-fault divorces don't have to prove that. You can say irreconcilable differences. That's it. Right? You can reconcile any differences. They just choose not to. They just don't want to. Guys are most willing to reconcile with a woman, with their wives, but the wife most likely don't want to. So they found irreconcilable differences, putting their family in danger even more, putting their kids through hell, having psychological damages in life. Right? Depriving them of a father figure, whose research shows that a lot of fathers really benefit to a child. But no. As long as the way it is, guys have the right not to participate. And that's what I think. Until the law changes, until everything's be fair, right? In both sides. Either if you file divorces, all custody should be 50-50. It shouldn't be like 100% custody. It should be 50-50. Right now, unless the father is extremely abusive, and you have a reason why to divorce him, that's probably a reason why, and you put on your reason why, say, oh, he's abusive to the kids and to me. Then I understand why he wouldn't get 50% custody. But most divorces, the father's not even abusive, and he get no custody at all. Women get 100% of the custody, right? So unless the law changes, guys refuse to participate, and that's the way it is. And you can't blame them, right? But let me know if you agree. Leave a comment below, like, share, subscribe. On that note, guys, peace and blessings.